So with the normal and the reciprocal trig functions, we were able to calculate the trigonometric ratio of a triangle given an angle. We were given an angle here of 60 degrees, and we were able to calculate the trigonometric ratio of 0.87. That ratio is the opposite side length divided by the hypotenuse side. Same with cosine of 48 degrees. We were given 48 degrees as the angle, and we calculated 0.67. That is the ratio between the adjacent side of the triangle and the hypotenuse side. Now we're going to explore the inverse trig functions, which allow us to calculate an angle. They allow us to calculate theta given a trigonometric ratio. So if I know the ratio between the opposite side and the hypotenuse side of the triangle, I can calculate an angle. Or if I know the ratio between the adjacent side of a triangle and the hypotenuse side, I can calculate that angle. So let's look at some examples. Let's look at the inverse sine of 0.866. And I'll use my TI-36X Pro Lite calculator. And on the TI-36X Pro, you just have to click on sine twice and you'll get the inverse sine. For mine, I have to press the shift key and then find sine -1. And then I'll enter in my value, 0.866, and I get 59.997, which rounds to 60 degrees. So I'll type that in, and I'll also try it on my TI-36X Pro Lite calculator. On this one, I have to enter in the ratio value first of 0.866, and then press the second key and find sine, and find the inverse sine button, and I get 59.997. That's the same answer. It rounds to 60 degrees. Now let's try another example. So here we have we have the inverse cosine of 0.669. So I will press cosine twice, or press shift or the second key, and find cosine, the inverse cosine. And then I'll type in 0.669 and press equals. I get 48.010. That rounds to 48.01. And let's try it on the other calculator. So I'll type in 0.669 first and press shift and find the inverse cosine. I get 48.010 again. Rounds to 48.01. Now one more example for good measure. The inverse tangent of 1.215. Let's see what that is. So I'll press tangent twice, or press the second key and find the inverse tangent, and then type in 1.215 and then press equals, and I get 50.544. So that rounds to 50.54. And I'll do that on the other calculator as well. I'll type in the value first, the ratio first of 1.215, then press shift, or then press the second key and find the inverse tangent. And I get 50.544, same as what I got on the other calculator. Now I want you all to notice something. For the inverse sine of 0.866, I got 60. And then when we took the sine of 60 up here in our previous example, we got 0.866, or rounded, that's 0.87, which is really close to 0.866, right? And when we took the inverse cosine of 0.669, we got 48.01. Up in our previous example, we took the cosine of 48 degrees and got 0.67, which is really, really close to 0.669. The inverse trig functions, what all they're allowing us to do is to go backwards, is to, instead of starting with the angle and getting a trigonometric ratio, like with the normal trigonometric ratios, with the inverse trig functions, we're able to start with the ratio to calculate an angle.